If you guys don't agree with the Constitution and what it stands for, why on earth would you become city council members and swear an oath to it? We have a word for that. It's called treason.
Are you, Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem Joe Anderson, attempting to influence the judge by chance? You know that's a crime, right? Yep.
After your comment last time that it's illegal to curse in a city facility, I'm now asking City Council to terminate Mr. Lewis.
Just cleared one of your officers in a fatal shooting where the officer just entirely forgot to even wear his body cam.
Shawn Lewis, Steve Ward, and Joe Anderson are all in violation of their oath of office, and you are all traitors to the United States of America. Hey guys, Denver Metro Audits, aka the Mile High Auditor. We're back over here again at Englewood Civic Center to do another public comment in regards to the standards of behavior policy. And might be a little bit spicy this time, guys. So let's go check it out, see how it goes. It looks great, man.
How's it going?
Good, how you doing?
Up next is Chris Cordova, here to address council regarding standards behavior policy. Mr. Cordova, if you could just state your name and your address or cross streets.
Hello, my name's Christopher Cordova. I'm not going to give my address. I feel as though I'm being a bit breadcrumbed by City Council. I've had members say, thank you for reminding us of our responsibilities to the Constitution, things of that nature, yet no one's reached out to me, so here we are again in 5-minute increments over the course of almost 3 months. Miss Wright, you're the only one that gave me your card. I appreciate that, although I wasn't able to actually speak to you, and I'm just hoping that the rest of Council hasn't gotten to you to intimidate you out of that. Mr. Anderson, you asked me if I support the viewing of pornography. And it's kind of a weird question to ask because I've said multiple times that I do not support viewing of pornography in a library, but I have said that it's unconstitutional and that the benefits of banning it doesn't outweigh the risk. You said last time, quote, if there are unconstitutional things in them, as I have said before, I want to get rid of those things. Well, banning pornography is one of those things. You also said, quote, I think it is well within our rights to have a library that these kind of behaviors result in getting temporarily banned from the library, end quote. What an ignorant thing to say. You think you have the right to ban constitutionally protected activity. And lastly, you said, quote, a lot of those standards of behavior are totally appropriate. So thanks for exposing that you believe that banning constitutionally protected activity is totally appropriate. Mr. Ward, you said, quote, it strikes me as the type of First Amendment complaint that I would be willing to expend city funds to defend, end quote. So you want to use taxpayer dollars to attack the First Amendment. If you guys don't agree with the Constitution and what it stands for, why on earth would you become city council members and swear an oath to it? We have a word for that. It's called treason. While pornography might be, quote, obscene to some under the colloquial meaning of the word, it is not de facto legally obscene, which is to say it's protected under the First Amendment. Rebecca Winning, former Associate Director of Communications for Jefferson County Public Library, said, quote, we rarely get complaint from patrons about being exposed to graphic images. Again, it's not very likely. It could happen, but we live in a world of duality. You can't have up without down, left without right, or good without bad. And if you try to pretend like bad doesn't exist, the universe will balance itself out. This is not magic. This is science. This is an immutable law of the universe. And as Einstein would say, the theory of relativity. Standards set forth by the American Library Association recommends against filtering computers, let alone banning patrons from the library, as restricting access to constitutionally protected speech violates the Library Bill of Rights. Again, back to Rebecca Winning, quote, we follow the law. If the law allows access to certain information that you or I might find objectionable, we allow patrons to access it, end quote. 1943 case of Martin versus City of Struthers states that the First Amendment protects the right to receive speech. So regardless of whether or not you believe it's moral, it is unconstitutional. That's my point. And you're going to get yourself a civil rights lawsuit. You're already going to get sued from Robert for banning him from a park based on the standards of behavior policy. When you take people's liberties away bit by bit, it leads society into a state of totalitarianism. And the founders warned us of this. And clearly we are less free today than we were during the founding of this country. Gary Johnson, former governor of New Mexico, said it simply but effectively when he said, quote, every time you pass a law, it is a little bite out of freedom. And that is why the benefit does not outweigh the risk. So let's talk about possible solutions without infringing upon people's civil liberties. How about you put screen protectors like Jefferson County did, and you make them wear headphones? This would be a time, place, and manner restriction that is permissible as it is narrowly tailored to serve a significant government interest while leaving open an ample alternative. Sounds simple enough. So I am still requesting that all rules and standards of behavior policy be lifted. And Ms. Niles, the fact that you have let this standards of behavior nonsense continue for this long is ridiculous. What kind of advice are you giving Mr. Lewis? And Mr. Lewis, after your comment last time that it's illegal to curse in a city facility, I'm now asking City Council to terminate Mr. Lewis. I'm also asking for the immediate resignation of Mr. Ward and Mr. Anderson. And if you don't do so, I will be facilitating a petition to recall on June 6th. Because Shawn Lewis, Steve Ward, and Joe Anderson are all in violation of their oath of office, and you are all traitors to the United States of America.
Thank you, Mr. Cordova, for your comments tonight. Any questions for members of council? Mayor Pro Tem.
Mr. Cordova, where do you live?
That's none of your business.
Okay, thank you.
Member Prange.
I just had a point of clarification. So are you saying that Jeffco libraries actually indeed allow pornography to be viewed within their libraries?
To my knowledge, they do not anymore, but at the time of this article that I was reading, yes, they used to. They did for several years. So,
Okay. Thank you.
All right, with no further questions, thanks for your time tonight.
All Joe Anderson wants to know is where he lives.
Up next is Cen Dickerson, here to address council.
In 1792, James Madison wrote that government is instituted to protect the rights of individuals. As stated unequivocally in the Declaration of Independence, our rights pre-exist any government, and the Declaration sets forth what constitutes good government and bad government, and why the tyranny of the British government had to be overthrown. The Constitution is the practical application of the Declaration of Independence. The Constitution specifically acknowledges the pre-existing rights of individuals and specifically prohibits any government interference with or abridgment of the pre-existing rights. That is the supreme law of the land. The assertion of governmental authority over areas of life once considered to be under individual and private control means that the federal government and most states are claiming total ownership of citizens and their property, thus virtually and actually enslaving them. The spirit of freedom that made the U.S. unique in the world, that made us great, the shining city on the hill, provided the basis for resistance against tyranny. And that has been subsumed by those who deny that spirit, by ignoring the Declaration of Independence, ignoring the Constitution, and ignoring the very foundations upon which this nation became great. At the regional town hall Saturday week, and I'll have to paraphrase, a state legislator said, "Oh, some believe in individual rights and more believe that the greater good is more important." Nowhere in the Constitution is government given the authority to determine greater good, or that individual rights are inferior to such a concept. Rights were and are pre-existing and absolute. Liberty is the absolute bedrock, yet that legislator clearly disrespects the spirit of liberty, the Declaration of Independence, and most directly the Constitution, giving herself the authority to change meanings of the words of the Constitution, change or ignore the history of the founding, impose her tyrannical, constitutionally unsupported beliefs upon citizens in total violation of her oath of office to defend the Constitution first and foremost. And that's what I've been seeing from this council. Because the mayor agreed with her, and the rest of you, well, 5 of you seem to agree with the mayor. In Englewood's Muni Code, there are many instances of unconstitutional, oppressive, contradictory codes and policies. You, meaning city staff, city attorney, city manager, city council, seem totally ignorant of the Constitution, disregarding it in favor of exercising tyrannical power, which is prohibited by the Constitution, and thus you violate your oath of office. Your oath of office, you swear to it, to put the Constitution first. Every code you pass carries the disclaimer that any portion that is unconstitutional is null and void. Some of the most recent codes, like the Title 16 replacement and the amendments to Title 12 and Title 7 and the standards of conduct, make the code worse and more oppressive and limiting even more our property rights. You undermine our charter with every code revision, enslaving Englewood citizens to unconstitutional state general law, which is contrary to the purpose of our charter. Worst of all, you try to limit public criticism of your actions, calling it slander, threatening citizens with removal because you don't like what they have to say or how they say it. Even on our local level, it is obvious that the slide towards authoritarian state is gaining momentum and the individual's rights are being undermined. Regional action threatens our independence and further oppresses and removes and threatens individual rights. You have overreached. You cannot grant rights. Rights exist independent of you. You need to protect our rights. Serve us. You are not our bosses. We are your boss. The organizational chart says so. So does the Constitution. It's not your job what you're doing with Tri-Cities and homelessness.
Thank you, Ms. Dickerson, for your time tonight. Any questions for members of council? Member Prange.
Thank you. Just a quick question, Ms. Dickerson. You stated that there were threats of removal. Have there been recent incidents that have happened?
Yeah, last meeting.
When
The mayor did.
He threatened to remove someone from the room?
Yeah. Regan Benson.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions for members of council? Member Wright.
Yes, Ms. Dickerson, can you tell me exactly what you're talking about when it comes to your property rights?
There's a lot of reasons, and I wasn't prepared to go into them because there's just so much.
Okay.
But there was I saw a cartoon, and I couldn't print it out, but I got the wording. So there's this lady, and she's standing on her property, and there's a tax assessor there. So she says, so as a tax assessor, your job is to charge me for the privilege of living in my home, which I purchased outright. I thought I was the owner of this property. And the assessor says, oh, you own it, but you just have to pay us to use it. And if you want to change your property, you'll need to ask permission and pay us more. Same thing if you want to sell it or transfer ownership. You can't destroy any part of the property.
Ms. Dickerson, are you able to leave us the cartoon just for members of council to read afterwards?
Well, I'm reading it for everybody.
Member Wright, did you want to listen to the rest of it, or?
How long is it?
Yeah, just another sentence.
Okay.
You cannot destroy any part of the property. You'll need permission if you want to have a fire in your fireplace or shoot a gun. Oh, and if we want it, we will just come and take it. But you totally own it.
I gotcha. Thank you.
That's what's happening here.
Thank you, Ms. Dickerson, for your time tonight.
Thank
With
you.
no further questions, thank you for your comments. Up next is Stacy with no last name given here to speak about homelessness.
My name is Stacy, and I don't have an address. I'm homeless. I sleep under a pine tree. I was forced into it, not by my own choice. And then I began to be treated poorly. Then I started being harassed by police in the park for trying to rest. I was being harassed for trying to use the bathroom. Everyone has the right to live. Everyone has the right to defecate. Everyone has the right to urinate. Everyone has the right to rest. Just imagine your bathroom doors being locked all night long and you have to get up and go to the bathroom, but you can't. You can't. You legally have no right between the hours of 6 p.m. when the bathrooms close and 7 p.m. if you're lucky they open for you. That is a horrible, horrible feeling that you're gonna defecate in your pants or urinate yourself. I don't deserve that as a 55-year-old woman. I don't. I have been hurt on the street. I am vulnerable on the street. And nobody seems to care. I just keep being harassed. Move along. You have to get up. You don't belong here. Where do I belong? Where is there a safe place that I can be legally? I've been harassed by Englewood police as well at different parks. I can't stay in the same place at all. I have to move every single night for fear of being harassed, and fear of being unsafe, of being violated in some way. I don't deserve that. I pay taxes. I have all my life. And this is the way I'm being treated by the people who are supposed to protect and serve me. Nobody's doing anything about it. In fact, homelessness as a violation of the right to life. The obligation to prevent and eliminate homelessness is also derived from the obligation of states to protect the right of life, enshrined in Article 6 of the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights. Homelessness, in particular, if individuals are exposed to it over and over for a longer time or repeatedly, does not only result in early preventable death, it also violates the right of individuals to enjoy a life with dignity. You all have dignity, but you don't consider that I have any. I'm here today speaking from my heart for all homeless people out there. We're not all the same. We're not all drug addicts. We're not all alcoholics. Some of us don't want to be homeless, but yet we're treated.
Stacy, thank you very much for your time tonight.
Have there been recent incidents where you've not been allowed to use restrooms around the city or told to move along?
What restroom is open after 6 p.m. in a park?
Say that again?
What restroom is open after 6 p.m.
Okay.
in a park?
So you're just speaking in general to like the time frames in which we have
Yeah, I'm
to
not
the
allowed to
restrooms.
use the restroom after 6 p.m. and not until 7 a.m. in the morning because there's no place open. No gas station, 7-Eleven won't let you in. Denny's won't let you in. You tell me how I'm supposed to relieve myself.
Thank you.
With no further questions, Stacy, thank you very much for your time tonight. Up next is Regan Benson with no topic given.
Good evening. As you've all been made aware on the record in both email and public comment from me on the issues I brought before you, tonight I'm just going to state facts on the record with more questions. The only department head still not having received his annual raise, Judge Jefferson. Why? From a records request that I obtained, you, Mr. Mayor, sent the judge an email asking to meet with him. And in this email, you told him that Joe Anderson would be in the meeting as well. Why? In this email, you did not state this meeting would occur within public view and on the record. Why? In this email, you failed to validate the reason you requested that 3 elected officials meet off the public record. Why? Are you, Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem Joe Anderson, attempting to influence the judge by chance? An elected judge? You know that's a crime, right? Yep. Why won't you give the elected judge his raise without private discussion with him? Without private discussion with him first. Next, it's no secret, all documented in writing for you all now, what your police department is doing to ensure less transparency for the public as it continues to not address its rogue officers through any viable internal affairs processes that nobody in this city gives a rip about. All the while doubling down on ensuring body cam footage is never released, especially to anyone that dare make it more public. $2,000 to show 3 interactions the public had with your police department, and you're all just gonna ignore that, huh? We also know that since I, having made a request for body cam footage for a potential police assault on a citizen that occurred on October 15th, your police department has since collaborated with the DA's office to issue a warrant for that person assaulted by the police, but not until February 25th, 2024, more than 4 months later. Why? This would be the same DA's office that just cleared one of your officers in a fatal shooting where the officer just entirely forgot to even wear his body cam. And lo and behold, there wasn't a single witness to the fatal shooting. Why do you think these things are happening? We also know now with 90% certainty who the individuals are in your police department that released body cam footage of me to your former city prosecutor, Ian Griffin. Oh yeah, Tri-Cities Homelessness? Yeah, they continue to meet in private as well. Thank you. Why?
Thank you, Ms. Benson, for your time. Any questions? Go ahead, Member Russell.
How did you find out that the officer that didn't wear his body cam and
That is a report released by the district attorney's office.
okay, that's what I was asking. It's public record, correct?
Yes, that is public record, and it's actually posted for the public to see on the Englewood Police Department Facebook page about 10 days ago.
So it was an Englewood police officer.
It was an Englewood police officer, Matthew Stanley.
Thank you.
Any further questions for members of council? Seeing none, Ms. Benson, thank you for your time tonight. And with that, that concludes unscheduled public comment. Member Wright, when you're ready, you're able to give a response.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. What a night to break me in on responding. Mr. Cordova is not here. I do believe in the Constitution. I'll leave it at that.
Hey, Dwight.
Hey, how are you? I'm honored. So you guys have a fantastic day, and thanks for coming out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for all you do.
Well, of course.
Thanks, Dwight.
All right, man. Good to see you.
Hey, you know what? I'll give you a fist bump.
All right, yeah.
My hands are sweaty.
No, I got you.
All right, man. See ya. Thanks for following this story, guys. I appreciate you. Make sure you like and subscribe if you like my content. If you've been here for a while, consider joining my memberships. Starts at only $2.99 a month to support the DMA channel and unlock your perks. That's it, guys. Until next time, stay safe. And remember, at the end of the day, it's night.